today, Mr. Paoli?
I'm still having some hip pains.
Seeing here in your chart, you're using the corticosteroid shots. Are they working for you?
They haven't been working very well.
Looking here with your osteoarthritis, with your congenital hip dysplasia, my suggestion to you would be a total hip replacement. How does that sound? Would it interest you?
That sounds a little scary. How does that work? Is it safe? Are there any side effects?
Well, with any surgery, there's risk, but I assure you I've done this procedure hundreds of times using Depuy Johnson & Johnson products. I'd actually like to try a new product called the Pinnacle on you. Would that interest you?
Well, you're the doc. I trust you.
Great. Let's have you sign consents and get it started. Can you sign right down there, please? Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Andrew Seaman, Depuy Ortho.
Good morning, I am the FDA rep overlooking your case.
Great. Did you receive the file on the Pinnacle metal-on-metal hip that we're trying to get past?
Yeah, I have it here.
What were the results?
It has cleared our screening process and it has been found to be substantially equivalent from your previous product, the Ultima metal-on-metal hip. And at this time, your product is ready for use.
Great, thanks. I'll tell the doctors.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Paoli. Are you ready for surgery today?
I'm as ready as I will be.
Great. Just to let you know that I have my device rep that's going to be in the operating room with us today from Depuy Johnson & Johnson Pinnacle Hip, and I'd like an opportunity to introduce him. So this is Mr. Andy Seaman. He's been working with me in the operating room for about 11 years now.
How are you doing, Mr. Paoli?
I'm doing good, thank you.
I hear you'll be receiving our Pinnacle metal-on-metal hip. Would you like to see the model that's going to go into you?
Yes, please.
Here we go. Okay, this is the latest edition of Depuy. It's a metal-on-metal. We currently just got approved by the FDA, and I actually brought the Rev Raya with me.
Yeah, I'm the one who overlooked their product and their improvements are very promising.
Okay.
With any luck, you'll be running the New York City Marathon in no time.
Sounds great.
Good luck, sir.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Great. Let's get started.
Doc, I have no idea what's going on. I have headaches and constant pain in this hip. It doesn't feel right.
All right, well, Mr. Paoli, and unfortunately, in reviewing your test results, it looks like you have elevated cobalt and chromium in your bloodstream.
I knew it. It's this hip. I'm suing you.
Hey, wait. I just put the hip in.
Then I'm suing you for giving me a faulty product.
Suing me? You need to sue the FDA. They approved it.
Well, we just approved it based on your specifications.
Well, then, you need to sue your doctor because she probably put it in wrong.
Well, I don't know. Someone's gonna have to pay for this. Who?
Since 2008, a team of engineers and surgeons in the northeast of England have been investigating problems with some types of metal-on-metal hip implants.
My expertise is in artificial joints and joint replacements, and that's why I've been involved heavily with joints such as this, examining them after they've been in patients to try and understand what's gone wrong, and importantly feed this information in the future so we can improve on these designs of artificial joints. This is a Depuy ASR hip. We have a metal cup and a metal head. So this is a metal-on-metal joint. We also have a long stem made of titanium which fits inside the femur, the long bone of the leg.
Almost 100,000 ASR hips were implanted worldwide between 2003 and 2010. Significant numbers of patients are reporting health problems due to these hip implants. It is estimated that 1 million metal-on-metal hips have been fitted around the world.
What's the problem with the ASR? The problem, we believe, is due to the design of this cup. It's relatively shallow and it means that these tend to wear quite quickly. They release metal into patients that causes tissue destruction and other problems.
For the patients affected, health problems caused by the failures have a huge impact on their lives.
We would argue that signs were there which should have been spotted. We also want to ask a question about, could this disaster have been foreseen by testing before the first metal-on-metal hip went into patients? We think the answer to that is yes. So we need to ask what testing was done, who did it, what were the results, could testing have been improved? Similarly, we're asking questions of the regulators. Could they have taken perhaps a firmer stance earlier to protect patients? And that's what this is all about, protecting patients.
It just goes on and on. This is what I find quite difficult. We've got to live with this for the rest of our lives.
I've had one revised and another one to go, and the revision, the one that's been revised, is still causing problem, and they're both just getting worse.
You just don't know what damage has been done. You've no idea what the long-term damage is, and I've had mine in for a year longer than I needed to.
It's taken too long to act on.
Okay, so the court case that we're dealing with is the United States District Court, Northern District of Texas, Dallas Division. Kathleen Paoli, the plaintiff, versus Depuy Orthopedics, defendant. Civil number 312CV04975K, October 21st, 2014. The plaintiff made 4 claims of statement against Depuy.
Okay, the first question for the jury was negligence. This is dealing with there may be one or more cause of injury, and Depuy Incorporated may not avoid liability by claiming that some other person, including but not limited to Dr. Almasher, helped cause the injury. So the jury found the defendant not guilty. In our opinion, we saw negligence by the doctor as well. He had a duty with this patient. He made a contract with this patient. Going on, yes, he did use Depuy orthopedic products, but the Pinnacle hip was not indicated for a patient with congenital hip dysplasia. And had this doctor read all the inserts in the product, he probably would not have used this on the patient. So dereliction would be that, and also direct cause. He did implant this, in fact, hip. The damages done to Ms. Paoli were metal-on-metal contact after only 3 to 4 months of use, and she had, in fact, metallosis in her bloodstream. So I think as a group, we find that the doctor's also negligent of not following all the following up on all the literature about the Depuy Pinnacle and Pinnacle hip.
Interesting. Okay. In question 2, we have the strict liability design defects. It's interesting. We'll talk about direct cause and damages. One who sells a product in a defective condition to users is strictly liable for physical harm to the users caused by the product if the seller is engaged in business of selling such a product. Depuy made this product based on the fact that it was going to provide younger consumers with longer lifestyles. But the question is, were they the direct cause? Because they're the ones engineering it. Yes, the doctor did implant at a bad angle, and he probably didn't read the instructions, but isn't it a company's responsibility to make sure that those directions are in bigger print, that they are read more often?
And that the reps are, in fact, leading the doctors to the surgeons.
And exactly, that it needs to be a unified effort because there's so many different hands in this person's health. And we'll move on to the third point.
Yeah, question number 3 is strict liability and adequate warning. So the Depuy Pinnacle metal hip, they failed to adequately warn of those dangers which would not be readily recognized by the community of treating orthopedic surgeons who implant artificial hips. So the FDA basically allowed the products to go through a process where they do not require very rigorous clinical testing, so they do not know what are the effects on actual humans.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think it's the ethical problem is that they allowed such process for products that can affect the health of humans. Yeah.
Yeah, like how do they test on a robot versus us?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. And Angel?
Question number 4 is Montana Consumer Protection Act. An unfair or deceptive act or practice means one which offends established public policy and which is either immoral, unethical, oppressive, unscrupulous, or substantially injurious to consumers, including making a false representation as to the characteristics, ingredients, uses, benefits, alterations, or quantities of merchandise.
So in terms of the patient and autonomy, what do you think, Angel?
My point of view is we should all be or educate ourselves before we go to the doctor and have questions that we want answered that we haven't been able to answer through our research. I think in this case the consumer was partially at fault as well for not educating themselves as to what could happen with this hip metal hip replacement.
So after reviewing the dilemmas of all 4 questions, we now have to look at the case again and figure out what the jury had decided. So for question number 1?
So question number 1, in Paoli versus Johnson & Johnson. In the case of negligence, the jury found the defendants, Johnson & Johnson, not guilty of negligence.
Okay. In terms of the question number 2, strict liability design defect, the jury found the defendant not guilty.
In question number 3, strict liability, inadequate warning, the jury found the Depuy not guilty.
In question number 4, Montana Consumer Protection Act, the jury found the defendant not guilty.
So basically, Depuy got away scot-free, despite all these issues. How do we feel as a group about this? Angel,
For me,
James?
I feel as a group, this
Was this right?
No, absolutely not. In reviewing the case and reviewing the issues, I don't know how much I guess Depuy has pretty good lawyers,
Yeah.
so I mean, they won the jury over. Basically, what they were doing is blaming the doctor. They shifted their marketing schemes and all the discrepancy with the product liability, and really focused their attention on blaming the doctor and the angle in which he put the hips in.
And Angel, how do you feel about this?
I believe that the doctor might have a little more blame than the patient. The patient should have, of course, educated themselves, but it's up to the doctor to educate the patient as well, be educated themselves,
Okay.
and
Interesting.
provide proper treatment.
Okay. How about you, Ryan? Where do you fall on this?
I feel like the FDA are to blame because they're the one who regulates the products that comes out of the market. So
Okay, interesting. I mean, I would, my blame would fall more on the company because they're the ones engineering this product. If it goes wrong, or even if it manages to fall between the crack, at the end of the day, they're the ones that are making it, so therefore they're the primary responsibility for it. I mean, it's one thing for a doctor to educate it, but the doctor's no engineer. You know, he's not going to be able to...
But also, to interject, the biggest complaint that a lot of surgeons are having now is that it used to be a very big partnership between corporations and doctors, because doctors are the ones that let companies know what they need and what the patients need. And there seems to be a breakdown in communication between that relationship. So, and you know, to kind of wrap up things, this is the first in a bellwether case. This is the first case that actually went before a jury.
Yes.
And there's actually about 6,600 pending against this exact pinnacle hip.
To this current day, yes. About almost 7,000 today. And cut.